Hey Margaret, what I just showed you is a clip from a game called Tales of Phantasia. It's the first game in a long series that begin with the title Tales of. Much different from Final Fantasy, which keeps adding a number on. Same with Dragon Quest, so that game series we first knew as Dragon Warrior in America. It was always Dragon Quest in Japan. I actually first came around the series with the second game in the series, Tales of Destiny. Got this on PlayStation. Have to say I was impressed. It wasn't like any of the other RPGs we were seeing at the time. Instead of the normal turn-based combat, you had to actually constantly be active, because it was like playing in a little fighting game with your character running around with their weapons trying to hit people. In fact, they actually put an item in the game that let you use your special attacks by inputting a code, like much like in Street Fighter. We haven't gotten all of the Tales games over here in America. There's a couple different reasons for that. There actually was one that was kind of an MMO, so there was not enough following in the games to try bringing that over here. That one didn't even last that long. There was also a sequel to Tales of Destiny, and it wasn't this. This was labeled Tales of Destiny 2 in America. There actually was an actual direct sequel to Tales of Destiny. This is originally called Tales of Eternia. Don't know why they changed the name. I guess they thought it would sell better if they linked it to the first one. I think most people didn't play the first one. And I think a lot of people didn't play this. I think what a lot of people's first hit on Tales was Tales of Symphonia for the GameCube. I actually didn't play through a lot of this one. I managed to play through all of Destiny and Eternia, but I never really got too far in Symphonia. They started trying to do instead of the 2D fighting setup that the other games had, which was real nice. They had nice graphics for the characters and nice, beautiful backgrounds, but they tried going full-on 3D with this one, but still some of the 2D aspects you can only run back and forth. Did not work out as good as it could have. There actually was another game series at the time that was running the 3D already back in the PlayStation area. I'm going to go off on a tangent if I don't stop myself. They actually have more on the PlayStation 2, Tales of Legendia and Tales of the Abyss, both of which I've only played parts of, unfortunately. Wow, I have too many games and not enough time. Actually got further on Legendia. Some interesting characters in that. Then we had 360 get Tales of Vesperia. Interesting little story. There hasn't been a Tales game on the 360 since. Apparently something Microsoft did. They screwed Bandai Namco on some part of the wording of the deal and said, oh, guess what? Now you can't release it in the States on the PlayStation 3. Which really only meant that we missed out on playing in the PlayStation 3 version. This character here, you could actually play as him in your party. So I guess it's not really a great loss that we didn't get that. Maybe sometime in the future, if they ever do a re-release, we'll get it. But, well, shame on you, Microsoft. But they've kept doing releases here in the States. It's actually gotten quite a bit of a following. Kind of like how we're seeing Monster Hunter build up a following. But Radiant Mythology was a Tales game. Tales of the World, Radiant Mythology. this was an interesting one because they kind of just threw together a kind of, here's characters from every Tales game world. It's got job classes and stuff like that, and it's interesting. I should go back and try to play it more. But recent releases, like I said, they haven't done another on the 360, but they've released them on the PlayStation 3 over here. Tales of Graces, and currently one I'm playing, Tales of Xillia. They've also re-released Tales of Symphonia, which also has its own sequel to, much like Tales of Destiny has an actual Tales of Destiny 2, which I wish we would get over here in the States at some point. Don't know why they haven't re-released the old ones yet. Well, they did with Fantasia. There's a Game Boy version of it. Japan also got a PSP version of it. We didn't get it. But there are some things that, of course, carry through with the different games that you learn to expect. Much like in Final Fantasy, there's always a character named Sid. There's no stopping that. There's always Sid. There's always certain things. I mean, the Chocobos didn't actually start until like Final Fantasy 2. There was one forest where there was these birds that you could ride, the Chocobos. Tales has, since the first games, your characters have titles. They don't always do anything, but you can have a title on your character. Some of the games have that do things. Graces, that was actually part of the skill system and leveling up. Most of the other games, not so much. They all have different skill systems. Destiny, the first one of them I played, had an interesting system for doing magic. It was called the Swordian system, because your characters got special swords that were alive. They'd have actual dialogue, talk to the characters and stuff. You equipped a Swordian, the sword would actually level up as well, and you gain spells from them and stuff like that. It was an interesting system. And, but of course they went off on other systems with that. Tales of Destiny 2 did a thing with spirits and spirit arts, and while the characters that didn't cast magic still had skills, the characters that did cast magic were dependent on you getting and leveling up all these different spirits throughout the storyline. But an interesting thing, there's cameos in these games for characters from the previous games. Tales of Destiny actually has cameos from Fantasia, and even though we didn't get Fantasia over here until the Game Boy release, officially, there was a long list of questions you had to answer to get some certain special items, and numerous questions actually referenced Tales of Fantasia. So you couldn't complete it unless you found a online walkthrough for it. In fact, the game needed a walkthrough because someone typoed in the game. You had to input a code to get through a locked door, and there were hints to this code. But either the code is typoed or the hint is typoed, and one of the digits is off. So until you find a walkthrough, you were stuck in that game. One of the walkthroughs actually called it the password of doom. But they continued on with cameos. Tales of Destiny 2 has a number of cameos, not only from Fantasia, but Tales of Destiny. In fact, they even made a summon that you can only use like once per every actual hour, that summoned all the heroes from Tales of Destiny. But it's been an interesting game series, and all of them are very different tales, very different worlds, unless they're a direct sequel of the previous one. Anyways, it's a great game series. I don't know if you'd ever be interested. If you do, I'm sure your other half still has a working PS2, so that could definitely play these ones and these two, which are all pretty decent games. But I guess with that, I'll see you next time, Margaret. And keep hunting monsters.